The city had always whispered his name in fear. In the glittering skyline where power wore expensive suits and danger moved in silence, Victor Morelli was a legend. To some, he was a ruthless mafia boss who controlled the underground with an iron fist. To others, he was a shadow, untouchable, unstoppable, immortal. Hospitals, politicians, businessmen, everyone knew that when Victor walked into a room, the air changed. But on a cold, rain-soaked night, the man who ruled the night lay motionless in the most expensive private hospital suite money could buy. The gunshots had echoed through the marble halls of his mansion just hours earlier. A betrayal from within. His own trusted lieutenant had turned against him. By the time his men rushed him to the hospital, Victor had lost too much blood. Surgeons worked for 6 relentless hours under blinding lights, their hands trembling not from fear of failure, but from fear of him. Yet even fear could not command a dying heart to beat. At 2:17 a.m., the lead doctor stepped back, removed his gloves, and gave the final verdict. Time of death, 2:17 a.m. The machines were silenced. The guards outside the room stiffened. The empire had fallen. Word spread through the corridors like wildfire. Some wept. Some panicked. Some secretly celebrated. Inside the room, Victor lay pale and still, his powerful frame reduced to fragile flesh. The doctors laughed. The nurses whispered. Eventually, only one staff member remained to clean the room before the body was transferred to the morgue, a poor maid named Elena. Elena was invisible to people like Victor. She scrubbed floors, emptied bins, and kept her head down. Life had never been kind to her. A widow at 26, she worked double shifts to care for her 2-year-old son, Matteo. That night, she had no one to watch him, so she carried him along, wrapped in a faded blue blanket, hoping he would sleep in the corner while she worked. The room felt heavy as she entered. Even in death, Victor Morelli looked intimidating. Elena swallowed her fear and began wiping the counters. Matteo stirred in her arms. His big brown eyes blinked open, curious and innocent. Before Elena could stop him, he squirmed free and toddled toward the hospital bed. Matteo, no, she whispered urgently. But toddlers do not understand power, fear, or death. Matteo reached the side of the bed and looked up at the still figure. For a moment, the room was silent except for the faint hum of distant machines. Then, in the pure, unquestioning way only a child can, Matteo lifted his tiny arms and grabbed Victor's lifeless hand. Elena froze. Matteo began to babble softly, as if speaking to a sleeping friend. When there was no response, his lip trembled. He climbed awkwardly onto the bed with surprising determination and laid his small head on Victor's chest. "Papa," he murmured instinctively, a word he barely remembered from his own father. Tears filled Elena's eyes. She rushed forward to pull him away, but something stopped her. A sound. Faint. Weak. Almost impossible. A single, uneven thud beneath her son's cheek. She held her breath. It must have been her imagination. The doctors had declared him dead. But then Matteo shifted, pressing his ear closer, and the smallest flutter echoed again. Elena's heart pounded. She leaned closer, her trembling hand hovering over Victor's chest. There it was. A heartbeat. Slow. Fragile. But undeniably there. "Elena, to emergency," she screamed, her voice breaking the silence of the corridor. Nurses rushed in, followed by stunned doctors. They checked the monitors again, disbelief written across their faces. Against all medical certainty, against every law of probability, Victor Morelli's heart had begun to beat. "Get the crash cart. Now!" The room exploded into chaos once more. Defibrillators charged. Oxygen masks secured. Medications injected. Through it all, Matteo refused to move. He clung to Victor's hand, his tiny fingers wrapped tightly around the massive knuckles, as if anchoring him to life. After agonizing minutes, the monitors showed steady signs. Weak, but stable. The lead surgeon stared at Elena. "If you hadn't called us," he couldn't finish the sentence. Elena clutched Matteo to her chest, shaking. She didn't understand what had happened. She only knew that her son had felt something no machine had detected. As dawn broke over the city, news spread once more, but this time, it carried disbelief and awe. The man declared dead had returned. And no one knew that the miracle began with a poor maid's toddler who refused to let go. If this story is already gripping your heart, stay with us, because what happens next will change everything. And if you love powerful stories of hope, redemption, and unexpected miracles, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss what comes next.